Thank you for watching the history of things. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments if there are any history of videos you'd like to see next. Let's talk selfies. Hey, everybody, welcome. You know, the other day I was scrolling through my phone, right? And I saw a picture of my dog, Gary, trying to eat a sock. It was hilarious. Then I saw a picture of my lunch, which, let's be honest, looked way better than it tasted. And then I found about, 400 selfies I took trying to get just one good angle. It got me thinking, how did we get here? How did we go from, serious historical portraits to my thumb accidentally covering half the lens? Well, you're in the right place, because this is the history of things, and today we are diving into the absolutely wild, totally unbelievable, and sometimes just plain weird history of the camera. It's a story full of geniuses, happy accidents, and a lot of people standing very, very still for a very, very long time. Seriously, think about it. We take pictures of everything now. Your cat in a tiny hat, your brunch, the weird-shaped cloud that kind of looks like Abraham Lincoln if you squint. We have these little supercomputers in our pockets that can capture any moment instantly. But it wasn't always this easy. Oh no. Getting a picture used to be a whole thing. I'm talking chemicals, giant boxes, and more patience than a kindergarten teacher on the last day of school. Long before anyone even dreamed of a camera, people were obsessed with capturing images. I mean, think about the earliest humans. They were basically the first bloggers, right? They'd go into a cave and draw on the walls. Here's a picture of a bison, #hunting, #dinner. They were telling their stories with pictures, which is exactly what we do today, just with fewer mammoths and more avocado toast. They didn't have a camera, but they had the same idea. I saw this thing, and I want to show it to you. It's the most basic human instinct. It's why we have art, and it's why we have a camera roll full of 2,000 pictures of our dog sleeping. We just want to share what we see. Then, things got a little more scientific with something called the camera obscura. It sounds like a spell from Harry Potter, right? Camera obscura. But it's actually Latin for dark room, and that's literally what it was. People would poke a tiny hole in the wall of a completely dark room, and an upside-down image of the outside world would appear on the opposite wall. It was like live television, but way before TV. Artists loved this. They could basically trace the projected image to get their paintings super realistic. Imagine being the first person to see that. Alright, so the world needed a hero, someone to figure out how to make those camera obscura images permanent. And that hero was a French guy named Niepce. I think that's how you say it? Niepce? Sounds like a fancy sneeze. Anyway, this guy spent years experimenting with different chemicals. In 1827, he finally did it. He coated a pewter plate with a type of asphalt, yes, the stuff they use on roads, and pointed his camera obscura out his window. After an exposure that took, get this, at least 8 hours and maybe even a couple of days, he got it. The world's first photograph. It was a blurry, grainy image of his rooftop. Not exactly a viral hit, but it was a start. This is where another guy, Louis Daguerre, comes in. He was like the flashy showbiz partner to Niepce's quiet scientist. They teamed up, but then Niepce died. So Daguerre kept working, and in 1839 he introduced the daguerreotype. It was a game changer. It was a process that used a silver-plated copper sheet, and it cut the exposure time down to just a few minutes. Still a long time, but way better than a few days. These pictures were incredibly detailed, but also super delicate. So photography was getting more popular, but it was still a whole ordeal. You had to take your film to a lab and wait. And wait. Maybe you'd get your pictures back only to find your thumb over the lens in every single one. The world was waiting for something faster, something more instant. Enter Edwin Land, the co-founder of Polaroid. In 1943, his 3-year-old daughter asked, "Why can't I see the picture right away?" Land thought, "Why can't she?" That question sparked a revolution. He set out to invent a camera that would develop a photo by itself. In 1948, the first Polaroid land camera went on sale. People lost their minds. You'd snap a picture, a sheet of paper would roll out, and you'd watch the photo appear before your eyes. The first models were messy. You peeled apart the negative and positive, then coated the picture with liquid. But who cared? A picture in your hands in about a minute. The perfect party camera. Suddenly, everyone could be a photographer and see results immediately. No more waiting, no more mystery. The Polaroid hit its stride in the 1970s with the SX70. Just when we thought instant cameras were the coolest thing ever, science came along and said, "Hold my beer." In 1975, an engineer at Kodak named Steven Sasson invented the world's first digital camera. It was the size of a toaster, weighed 8 pounds, and it took 23 seconds to record a single black and white photo onto a cassette tape. A cassette tape? Then you had to pop the tape into a special player and look at the image on a television screen. The resolution was a whopping 0.01 megapixels. Your phone today probably has, 12 million times that. It was clunky and slow, but it was the first glimpse of a future without film. For a long time, digital cameras were super expensive and not very good. Film was still king. But technology got better and cheaper, fast. By the late 90s and early 2000s, digital cameras started to take over. People loved them. You could take hundreds of pictures on one little memory card. And the best part? You could instantly see the picture on the little screen on the back. If you didn't like it, you just deleted it. No more paying to develop a whole roll of terrible photos. Alright, you know I love a good fun fact. So here are some amazing, weird, totally true things about cameras you can use to impress your friends. First up, the largest camera ever built. It was called the Mammoth camera. It was built in 1900. It weighed 1,400 pounds. It needed 15 people to operate. It was built to photograph a fancy new train. The final picture was 8 feet long. The first ever photograph of a person was a complete accident. In 1838, he took a long exposure picture of a street in Paris. But one man stopped for a shoe shine. Nobody knows who he is. The first person ever photographed. So, we've gone from cave drawings to cameras on the moon. From an 8-hour exposure of a roof to billions of photos uploaded every single day. What could possibly be next? Well, the future of cameras is getting pretty wild, and it's all about making them smaller, smarter, and more integrated into our lives. We're already seeing cameras that can see in the dark, cameras that can shoot in super slow motion, cameras that can create 3-dimensional models of rooms. But that's just the beginning. Maybe even, and this is the crazy part, as a contact lens. Imagine being able to take a picture just by blinking. You'd never miss a moment again. We will always want to show someone, hey, look at this. And that wraps up our journey through the incredible history of cameras. Thanks so much for watching the history of things. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe so you never miss an episode. Got an idea for what we should cover next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, keep capturing the moments that matter.